What's going on, guys? I'm back in my office and it's time for another video. So today I thought I would go through all the accessories that I use with the Sony system. I've got a few different grips and things that I've tried out over the 2 years that I've owned them. And since updating to the A7R3s, there's been a few new things come out that I purchased to see how I would like it. So we've got grips, what hard drives I use, batteries, chargers, lots of things that you guys should look into. So let's just jump into it, and we'll start off with all the grips that I've tried out. Now the latest one I'm using is by Really Right Stuff. If you can see there, it's like a little L plate. It has an L bracket for mounting into your tripod, but it also just adds a little bit of grip for your finger there. So when I'm holding it, as you can see, it just allows me to tuck my finger up in there, and it feels really nice. So I've only just got this one. The one I was using originally was this one by Small Rig. As you can see, it's the same kind of concept. It does have an L bracket that goes into it as well. I've just taken it out. Usually I don't run these L brackets with the actual L portion of it. So what you can do is just undo this little bolt here eventually, and that just slides right out like that. So as you can see with the Small Rig one still on, it just adds enough grip that I can hold it with my pinky, and you know, it feels really nice. Now with the magic of YouTube, I'm just going to swap this one over for the Small Rig one and show you guys the difference. So there you go. As you can see, this one has a much fatter grip on it. The problem is it's really hard to tell, but because they've allowed for the battery door, it sticks out quite a lot further than it needs to. So when you're holding it, it just doesn't really feel that comfortable. When I found these, I went out and bought 2 of them straight away because I just thought they'd be really good. But turns out they are a little bit too, you know, for my hands, they're a little bit, it sticks out too much. I don't enjoy it as much as the Really Right Stuff one. The other one with the other thing with the Really Right Stuff bracket is that it takes the Sony battery door off the camera and incorporates it into the grip, which is really awesome. The other grip a lot of people ask me about is this one. This is this genuine Sony, they call it the finger grip. I can't remember what the model name is, but I'll put a link in the description. Now this one just screws into the bottom of the camera like that and locates onto it, and it just sits like that. So it's literally just a finger grip. It feels really, really awesome to hold, better than any other plates I've had. The only issue is you can't put a tripod into the bottom of it like you can with the other plates. I did modify this one to put my dual camera harness in there so I can hook it on, and I have a tether to the side of the camera. So that one feels really nice. I'm just really liking the Really Right Stuff one because it incorporates the battery door. This one you have to undo it and slide it off to get to the battery, which it's not a big deal because you hardly ever have to change the battery with these cameras anyway, but it's there and I prefer not to do it. The next one everybody knows about is the battery grip. Now this one is a Sony product. Obviously it holds 2 batteries inside the camera, so all you do is pop out the old battery, your battery door clips into here so you don't lose it, and that just screws in like that, and you've got, you know, a big fat DSLR looking camera with an awesome grip, 2 batteries, and it's really great. I thought I would use it a lot more than I do. I just don't for some reason. I'm not sure. I'm kind of getting used to the small cameras now. When I was with Nikon, I was used to a big body, and now I've just adapted to the small ones, and I just prefer it with the smaller grip. So you know, it's amazing if you just want to, if you're doing a lot of shooting and you want to not have to change batteries, it's great. And it feels really nice to hold. It does have extra custom function buttons on it that you can program, and an extra shutter obviously for shooting vertical. Just not something that I use a hell of a lot, and it is quite expensive. Before I move on to anything else, I'll show you guys my main tripod that I use for photo taking. When I hardly ever use it, but when I need a tripod, this is what I carry with me. So I have a Siri, I think it's pronounced Siri, I'm not sure, 1205X carbon travel tripod. It's really small. It folds up to, I don't know, 1.5 meters maybe, so it's not extremely tall, but it has an Arca Swiss plate, which means my grip, my Really Right Stuff grip here, just slides straight into it, and I don't need any extra plate or anything like that. you know, it takes one thing that I have to add onto the camera out of the equation. So next thing on the list is batteries. Usually I only really use the Sony batteries, these FZ100s. The genuine ones. I have 4 of these, 2 for each camera. I can get through a whole wedding with 1 battery. Usually, if it's a whole day, like a 10-hour wedding, sometimes I'll have to switch to the last battery just at the end before the dancing starts. But 1 battery usually does it for me. I do also have the FZ100 Wasabi power batteries. So these are aftermarket ones that Auckland Camera Centre gave me a pack to review. And they've been really good. I haven't noticed any difference in terms of the length of time they last. They are much more plasticky than the Sony ones, but you know, for $100 New Zealand dollars for 2 of them with the dual charger, which is the next thing on my list, is great. So the dual charger comes in the kit with 2 Wasabi batteries, and it just plugs into micro USB there, so you can use it with an iPhone charger or in your car or whatever, and it charges 2 batteries at the same time, which is super handy when you're shooting dual cameras. Definitely something to think about. There's a bunch of other ones. I believe you can get a quad charger which charges 4 batteries at the same time, obviously, as well. eBay is great for all this sort of stuff, so check those out. Next thing on my list, which I've just chucked in there because I really don't like using the app for it, is a remote shutter. So this is just a real budget $20 cable release with the USB on the end to use with Sony cameras. It makes it a lot, for me it's a lot easier just plugging in a USB and having a trigger than, you know, setting up the app and connecting to the camera and doing it that way. I just prefer it personally to have just a one-click solution. So $20 cable release, good news. Something I just wanted to talk about quickly was hard drives. So I use 2 different hard drives. This is a Samsung portable SSD drive. It's a 1 terabyte. These are really good for current editing and, you know, weddings that I'm editing at the moment that aren't finished. I edit off this hard drive between my MacBook and my iMac, and it goes, you know, I've formatted it so it works with the PC as well. But I store all my catalogs and everything on this, and then I back up to this one, which is a Lacy tough drive. This is a 4 terabyte tough drive with USB-C. They're both USB-C, so really fast. Obviously this one being an SSD is much faster, but this one for a standard hard drive is really good also. So also when I finished editing a wedding, all the final sets get transferred to the big one, and that also gets copied to another hard drive just to double everything up, especially the current wedding edits. So, you know, if I lose something, I have a backup which is stored somewhere else. I don't use any cloud storage. I just don't feel it's necessary when I have 2 or 3 hard drives with everything on it in different locations. If my house burns down, I've got one in my car. If my car gets stolen while my house is burning down, I have one at a friend's house. So I'm covered for backups, and it's a cheap solution. One thing you're really going to want to get with the Sony cameras is one of these blowers. Now this is a really nice, this is a HEPA jet, I think it's called, and it has a little filter on the end, so you're not blowing air back into the sensor. Obviously with the Sony cameras you don't have a mirror protecting your sensor, so they're a little bit more prone to dust, but as long as you give it a blow when you see the dust on it and don't leave it for ages, it won't stick. And 100% honest, my A7R3s, I haven't cleaned the sensors once since I've owned them, and I don't have any spots that I can see. So great news. Blower, save yourself getting a sensor clean. Do it when you see it. Now, seeing this video isn't heavily about lighting. I just thought I would show you the 2 main lights that I use for weddings when I'm shooting them. So I have Godox. I use this Godox. It's a TT685, really basic, similar to your SB600. I think they're called SB600s, the, you know, the big Canon speed lights and the Nikon equivalents. Same kind of thing. This has radio built into it, and it's TTL and high speed sync and all that sort of stuff that you might want to play with. This one is called a TT685. This is the N version for Nikon. I do have a Sony one as well, which is native and has the different hot shoe on it, but this one also works on camera without TTL or high speed sync or anything, but it does work on camera just in manual mode, and it works off camera with everything, so that's great. And the other one I use is these Yongnuo video lights. So this is a YN300. I have 2 of these. These are great when I'm doing video and photo at the same time, and I just put one in each corner of the room for the dance floor or speeches or something like that when it's really dark, and you know, works really well with that. Next thing on the list, memory card storage. I have a Pelican tough case to store all my memory cards. They're not all in here at the moment, but you know, tough proof, waterproof. You know, it has a clip on it so you can clip it to your bag to make sure you don't lose it. Really nice, love it, had it for years, never had a problem with it. And which leads me onto memory cards. These are the only cards I personally recommend with the Sony cameras or any professional camera, is the SanDisk Extreme Pro cards. They have to be the Extreme Pro cards, not just the Extreme. The difference is these ones write at 90 megabytes a second. The other ones only write at like 30 or 40. Even though they say 95 on the card, that's actually only the read speed. So SanDisk Extreme Pro memory cards, get on those. Really reliable, never had a problem. The Lexar ones I've personally had a few issues with. I don't think they're around anymore anyways. But you know, people say they've had issues with Lexar, some people say they've had issues with SanDisk, whatever works for you. Personally with Sony cameras, I think the Extreme Pro SanDisk cards are the best to get. The other thing I use to hold the batteries and the little bits and pieces and Allen keys and stuff is just one of these. So this is just a little bag that came with one of my Low Pro bags. So I put my memory cards and Allen keys and batteries inside that, which goes in my bag and keeps it all in one place. Which leads me on to my backpack I use. This is a Low Pro Flipside Trek 450 AW. It's got back access, which is really nice. It's carry-on size, it takes a laptop, and it holds all my cameras and all my lenses. So 2 cameras, 4 lenses when I go to a wedding. And it's got plenty of storage in the top. It looks, you know, reasonably cool, and it was a pretty good price. I think it was about $240 New Zealand. Check that, it changes quite often, but that's my main bag that I use. The last thing I want to talk about today is straps. So I'm using the Sony strap, the one that came with the camera. I don't know why, I've got so many. I've got the Peak Design ones, I've got other brands that I've tried, and when I'm using one camera, I always go back to the Sony, just this generic neck strap. The difference is I brought these Peak Design quick release clips. So they just pop on there to your old strap, so you can quickly release them if you don't want a strap on your camera, and it works perfectly. So really easy to take on and off if you don't want to use a strap at all. The other reason is with my dual camera harness, I have another one of these Peak Design clips attached to that for a sort of rescue line in case the strap comes off. So Peak Design quick clips, I'll put a link to all of the stuff in the description, but these are really handy if you just want to use a standard strap or any strap you might have that you can attach these quick clips to. So that's a quick look at all my accessories that I've tried and own at the moment for Sony cameras. If there's something else you want to see, pop a comment below and I'll do a video on that. I'm still waiting for the Sigma 35 E-mount lenses. It's driving me nuts. I want to buy one. I don't have any idea when they're coming. They were supposed to be nearly 2 months ago, I think. Hopefully they're going to be here really soon. So as soon as I've got my hands on one, I will do a review on it. I know there's been lots done already, but I'm going to give you my take from someone that's purchased it with his own money. So watch out for that. I'll see you guys in a few days with another video.